Let's go on to the outside. The inner circle of the outside is things that are outside this. And here they are. Think about it, right? So you have your network, your resources, and your influences. If this is the me, this is then definitely the them. That thing that's out there. And you need to have it for you to succeed. Let me elaborate on that. The inner circle of your network is the people you know, you can call on, the people who are directly in contact with you. Let's call them friend number one. These are the people in the inner circle, the people you make a single phone call to and they know your name. They know where you are, they know whose son you are, or where you work, or where you met. Those are your friends. Even acquaintances. Anyone who will pick up your phone call on the first, second, or third ring and know your name, that's your network. That's your first level of network, friend one. Friend two is the friend of a friend. It's the person you met through the person you know. So, say my friend is called Brian, and Brian's friend is Michael. Michael is my F2. That's my friend number two. So if I needed something from Michael, because Michael was introduced to me by our mutual friend Brian, I have a 50-50 chance of getting it because I have what is called extended trust. Michael trusts me because we know Brian. That is not part of your direct network. It's part of your indirect network. And what you're trying to do is make sure Michael becomes your direct network. Because your network literally is your net worth. You are worth who you know. That is very important. Remember, who you know. Not the friends on Facebook, not the friends on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter. No, no. Who do you know? Who can you call up? Who can you talk to directly and they know you? That's what your network is. The second thing about the inner circle is resources. Now let me explain why resources matter. Resources is what you have in your pocket. And it doesn't mean what you have in your wallet. What you have in your pocket. That's different. Your wallet is the kind of money you have, but your pocket is the resource. Human, friendships, support, culture, trust, goodwill. Those are the things you carry in your pocket. The kind of thing where if you call somebody and say, I'm in trouble, they can help. Or if you call somebody and say, I have an idea, they can reach out. That's what your resources are. But most people don't know what their resources are. You right now, here's a question for you, right? And give you a very practical example, right? If you had a good business idea right now, and you need 50,000 shillings to start, can you list 5 people who are F1s, direct friends of yours, or F2s, friends of friends, who can help and not give you the money, but advise you on where to find it? Advice, not advice. If you cannot come up with 5 people, then you don't have resources. You're in a bad place, and we need to fix that, and I'll show you how. But resources is very important. The third part about the inner circle is influence. Now, network helps with resources, resources helps with influence. But it also works this way. Networks help with influence, and influence helps with resources. It all drives itself. If you have good network, you have good resources. If you have good resources, then you have influence. And it also works the other way around. If you have good influence, you've got networks. If you have good networks, you have resources. In influence, the most important thing for you to understand is influence is something you use sparingly. But when you use it, it needs to give you network results or resource results. So influence is always critical in finding out where you are in a pool. Let me give you an example. You walk into a room of people. There are 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, doesn't matter. When you walk into a room of people and people look at you, how many people recognize who you are? If 5 people recognize out of 50, then your network is 5 out of 50 and your resources is 5 out of 50. But if the 5 people who recognize you, the room knows all of 5 of them well. If each person can say, I know 10 people in the room of 50, that means that because of the 5 people that know you and the 50 people that know those 5 people, you indirectly have 50 people as a resource and 50 people as a network. That's what influence is. It's me telling 2 people and 2 people telling 200 or 20 or 2 others. Being able to have that level of influence allows you to have a big inventory of support, of friends, and of power. What's the outer circle? The outer circle, just like here, is what you need to do to be able to take advantage of this. Again, 3 boxes. This time I'm going to draw them like this. This one is very different. The outer circle has R. R is reach. R-E-A-C-H. How far are you willing to go to reach people that you want to get in touch with? Remember, first thing you need to grow is your network. How far are you willing to go to reach people? Sometimes people use social media, sometimes people get personal, and sometimes people, in some way, shape, or form, shout. They just reach out, they just yell. You've seen a guy there was one social media video, I might have seen this, or picture, of a guy looking for a job in town, right? And he had this placard saying, I have a degree in economics or science or something, and I'm looking to be employed. He wasn't in town 3 days. Because the fact that he shouted so loudly, so many people took a photograph of that and shared that somebody reached out to him, and I believe he got a job, because he's not on the street anymore. What about brand? That's another thing you need to think about. As you think about reach, what is the brand? I remember a guy in university who was always known to be the funny chap, but he was also very, very well known for not doing group work with some friends. You know, if you had him in your group, you knew he was not going to do anything. Fast forward 10 years later, when I met the fellow, fabulous guy, very fun, very lively. But then, when we got into a professional conversation, I had to admit I had gone back into the university mindset of him not being able to perform in a group. I found out that he runs a pretty big company himself, and I asked him, how did you manage to move from that guy to this guy? And he says he didn't realize how much of a brand image he had damaged by not doing things in university. When it came to working, he had to change that brand because it carried him along. A lot of people who he tried to get to be his customers in the very first few years of his business were friends from university, and they never trusted him. Branding is very important. What people look at you and see, very critical. Always remember, how you look, how you sound, and your past can matter. It doesn't always have to, but it can matter. So it's important to try and always figure out how to improve, change, and make people see what you want them to see, not what other people think you are or how your dress looks like. Finally, consistency. Think about it. You're kindly drinking a cup of tea or a soft drink or juice or something of the sort. What is important about that drink that you're having? Well, let me propose to you that the fact that the glass of milk you're drinking now tastes the same as the glass of milk you drank yesterday, which tastes the same as the glass of milk you drank the day before, or juice, or soft drink, or tea. That consistency does something to you. It gives you the element of trust. When you have something consistent, a DVD that works, a TV show that comes every day at a certain time in the night, or a person who always treats you the same way, that consistency breeds trust. So, are you consistent? Can I trust you? Because if I can, then I definitely want you in my network, part of my resources, and my influence. The overall in inventory, when you're trying to come up with your war chest, is understanding the things you have inside you and the things you have outside you. And then using what you know to build what is inside you, i.e. your talent, your personality, and your experience, and using what you have to find to build what is outside you. So getting the reach, the brand, and the consistency in being able to improve your network, your resources, and your influence. Build a very strong war chest. And then anything you want to do will always be at your arm's reach. Now let's go to the next video and understand what strategy really looks like.